I've thrown everything on top of it, including the kitchen sink. Hello everyone and welcome to an extra midweek subscriber recommended video. That's right, Lindsay left a comment in one of my videos suggesting that I tried out some Brusho paints, and you ask, you shall eventually receive. Okay, so I just bought this pack of 12 different colours. I'm also not sure whether these are paints or whether these are inks. I know it's a powder. It might just be some sort of powdered pigment. But what I thought I would do is show you some different techniques of how to use Brusho paints or inks or whatever they are that I've read up online. And then also I thought I would combine all of those techniques, or at least some of those techniques, into maybe a final painting or like a drawing or a work of art or something like that. I haven't really planned very far ahead. I'm just seeing how things go. Right, let's have a look inside of these. Oh, we've got a little booklet here. I'm just gonna have a little read of this just to see what it says. Oh, okay, so this is what Brusho paint is. It says these highly pigmented watercolour crystals. So it's basically a watercolour based paint pigment, and it's not fixable on fabric, so it's not a fabric dye. Yeah, so this little booklet shows you some different techniques you can use with Brusho paint, and I'm actually going to be trying a couple of the ones they've suggested, but I'm also going to be trying some of my own. Oh, after reading this, you can do so much with it. They also have loads of different mediums and stuff. I wish I'd bought some of that other stuff, but I would get crazy and I just wouldn't have any money left. Alright, I think it's the kind of medium that you just really want to play with and just have fun with. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so these are the little pots here. Right, let me just open it up, see what I'm working with. The packaging almost looks like a medicine bottle, doesn't it? I heard from the internet, if you pop a pin through this, you can just sprinkle your paint out that way. So I think that's what I'm going to try and do. Oh yeah, that works well. And the thing is as well, because it's a dried pigment, you can put holes in these containers and you obviously don't need to worry about your paint drying out. Okay, so I think the first technique is what Brusho paint is most famous for, and it's sprinkling the dried pigment onto a bit of paper or a canvas or whatever, and then spraying it with water, and then it's supposed to give this kind of firework, cool, just kind of colour burst moment that looks incredibly exciting. So I'm going to do that with, what colours? Maybe it's all of the colours, I don't know. We'll see. I don't think the pin was a great idea, if I'm honest with you. It's not good, it just gets blocked. So maybe don't do that. Okay, let's sprinkle some colour on. Oops, I knew that was gonna happen. Okay, so we've got some pigment on this paper, and then just some water. And you're supposed to just give it a bit of a spray. Ah. How nice is that? I suppose you could go really far with this and really like spray it with a lot of water, or you could leave it quite concentrated. Look how nice that is. It's very pigmented. It's far more pigmented than a normal watercolour. It almost reminds us of boxed powdered dye. Okay, so obviously that's one technique. An amazing technique. I think you would use it sparingly. I've gone obviously very full on with it, but that's nice as it is. I would hang that on my wall. So I'm just gonna pop this to one side and we're gonna move on to another technique. Right, so this one's actually very similar to the one I've just done, but we're putting water on the paper first. So I'm just gonna generously apply some water. I feel like an art teacher today. I would be an absolutely horrific teacher. Okay, so we have a wet bit of paper, and this time we're going to put the paint directly onto the water and see what happens. I think it'll give a very similar effect to the one we've just done. It literally looks like fireworks. Hang on. I'm just gonna, because I don't know whether you're going to be able to see it very well on there. I'm just doing a little bit of a closer up video just so you can actually see it properly. But it looks so nice. It almost looks furry, and I'm really into this. It's quite unusual as well because this paint is emerald green, but if you look inside it actually looks more of like a yellow ochre. So it just completely transforms when it hits the water. Look at that. How amazing is that? Oh, it looks so nice. So that's another technique you can do. And I think this paint would be good for, obviously, abstract paintings. It would be amazing for abstract paintings. But it would also be good for incorporating into more figurative kind of stuff. I've seen some ideas. I might put some pictures up of some very talented artists who have drawn things and painted things. And they've finished their paintings off with this Brusho stuff and with techniques like this. And it looks so cool. I am going to try something similar at the end. Whether it'll look as good as them paintings, Well, it won't, but I'll try my best. Alright, so another thing you can do with these paints is literally just mix them with water. So I'll pop some of the pigment in here, just add a little bit of water, and then you can use it. It's just a regular paint. It's definitely got a watercolour vibe to it. Well, obviously it's watercolour paint. But it's just so colourful, like super colourful. Very easy technique. I'm sure everyone would come to the conclusion to just add a little bit of water to it and use it neat. I wonder how well the colours will mix. What should I mix orange with? I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow just to see what happens. Yeah, so you can easily mix these paints too. And it'll give you a bit of a lighter orange. Ah, it's a nice medium to work with. I'm into this. Okay, moving on to another thing you can do with it. So I'm just gonna add some paint onto here. I'll go for a black and yellow combination. I think that'll look cool. I'm just gonna spray it with water again. Right, and because I want this to dry quickly, I'm just gonna blot it with some paper, which you can do. This is another technique you could do, but I'm not doing it for the purpose of this. I just need it to dry, or at least just soak up a little bit of this leftover water. That kind of looks good on its own, doesn't it? I didn't even mean to do that. So I've got some bleach here, and I think you can actually bleach away the pigment. And this is something I've done a lot of actually. At college I used to do a lot of ink and bleach resists and stuff like that. And it's so fun because not only does the bleach get rid of the pigment, it changes the pigment. So like you can see on this one, it started to produce some reds from the yellows and started to produce some blues and greens from the black. It's really, really cool. So fun to do. And yeah, you'll get something that looks a little bit like this. And obviously you can do way more with it if you wanted to. But it's just so much fun, it really is. Using bleach on inks and paints that you can use bleach with, I would highly recommend it. Alright, so this next technique is a wax resist. I don't know whether anyone's done this before or not, but you just need a regular candle or a piece of wax or something. If I can get this tea light out. This one can be a little bit tricky because obviously you can't see the wax very well. So it can be quite hard to actually draw something decent. But if you just draw on your paper with the wax. See, that's got wax on. You can't see what you've really done. You can if you go right to the side. You can see your marks a little bit. And then all you would do is obviously add your paint. And just like that, you've got a pretty cool wax resist. Like, it's quite fun. It's a very fun, magical kind of idea because you just put the paint on and then all of a sudden these spaces, these white parts start to appear through it. And nothing will penetrate the wax because obviously it's water resistant. If you wanted to remove the wax, all you would do is lay some greaseproof paper over the top and underneath and then put an iron on and just iron over it. And that would melt the wax off and it would stick to the paper. But then keep in mind, there's not going to be any wax there anymore. So if you go back into it, all those wax resists are going to get coloured with whatever you put on top. But yeah, that's another technique you can do with these Brusho paints. And I think it's a pretty cool idea as well. Also, I've just got this one up that's dried now. Look how flat those colours are. I was expecting it to be a little bit more kind of sheer, or I don't know, I was expecting the finish not to be as good. But that's a really nice pigmented flat bit of colour. That's nice. That's nice paint. I'm liking these. Okay, so now I thought I would try and use some of the techniques that I've just shown you into a full-on drawing slash paint and slash piece of art. And I think I'm going to do something a bit spooky since Halloween's coming up. So I want to do a haunted house kind of scene. I've got an idea in my head of what I want to do and what techniques I want to use. So hopefully it's going to look good. I wish I hadn't put them lines there. I'm starting that one again. I didn't like that. I'm starting again. Okay, so I've got my basics of my haunted house. Doesn't look like a typical house, but you know, it's haunted, so it's fine. Now I'm going to use some of the Brusho ink techniques and hopefully make this look a little bit better. Okay, I think I might be done because I am getting far too carried away with this. I've thrown everything on top of it, including the kitchen sink, and I've completely lost what I was actually doing. It started off really well, and then it got bad, and then I felt like I fixed it, and then I went in more and made it worse. And now I feel like I'm at a point where I think it's looking okay. It's not what I had in my head, but if you think about the house kind of being possessed, and obviously the lights are on in the house, I didn't know what to do with this bit. I started off too dark and I couldn't rescue it. And I've got some bleached trees and a little wax resist moon. They're stars, but the bleach stretched out, so they're shooting stars them too. But the good thing about this is, obviously once it's fully dry, you could go back in and do even more to it if you wanted to. I don't know whether I should, but you could. It doesn't look too bad, does it? I actually quite like it. On camera it looks really cool. In person it looks less cool, but you get the idea. And that's just like a quick little piece of art. It only took us about 25 minutes, so it's not too bad. The only thing is, I think this Brusho ink stuff, it's best for colourful, vibrant kind of things. Yet I went for a spooky, dark, haunted house. I should have really gone for like a butterfly. That would have been better, and it would have shown the Brusho ink to its best ability. But still, Bleach saved it, I think, and I'm not mad at it. That just about does it for today's video on trying out some Brusho paint and showing you different techniques on how to use Brusho paint. Hopefully you have possibly learned something, or maybe I've inspired you to be a bit creative and experiment with Brusho paint. I would highly recommend getting some if you've never used it before. And thank you very much, Lindsay, for recommending this material. I've enjoyed myself. It's been messy, but it's been very creative, and I do like creativity. It's one of my favourite things. But if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you have any other paints or mediums or anything like that you want to see me test out on the channel, then feel free to let me know in the comments. But I'm going to be recording Friday's video today, so if my hands are filthy in it, then you know why. It's because of Brusho paint.